everyone. My name is Ocean, and I am going to be doing the video prompt. I'm going to be talking about whether flexible work options actually motivate employees, when teamwork can be demotivating, and how much overtime is really reasonable before stress becomes a problem. I'm going to talk about flexible work options like flex time, telecommuting, job sharing, and compressed work weeks. I honestly feel that these can motivate employees, but it really depends on the person and the job. And the job has a lot to do with it. Obviously, so does the person. But, okay, flex time, for example, this lets employees choose their start and their end day. This can be very helpful and motivating because people feel like they are trusted and they feel more in control of their own time. Some people work better in the morning, while some people might, work better at night. Some people have obligations like children, and they need to have hours during the day so that they can have time with their kids at night when they get off of school. And that freedom can make employees happier and more productive. Well, some people might prefer a night shift instead. Telecommuting or working from home can be very motivating. Not everybody has the time or car or the money to put gas in their car, and it can cause stress. Employees can focus more on without office distractions. They can focus more on their work, and it can help people balance their family and their work and their school obligations. When workers feel like their personal life is respected, they're more likely to be motivated and do a good job. Another thing is job sharing and compressed work weeks. Those things can help too. Job sharing allows people to split one job, and it can help reduce the likeliness of burnout. Compressed work weeks. I was just thinking about asking my boss about this earlier today, actually. Like working 4 longer days instead of 5, and gives somebody an extra day off. I feel like an extra day off would give you more time to decompress, get schoolwork done, spend time with your kids, get rest, and that can boost your motivation. At least for me, I feel like that's a big one. I agree with that one. But for some people, these options don't always work. Some people want structure, they need consistency, they want face-to-face teamwork, shorter days, I guess, help them feel motivated, but for some people, flexibility helps them feel, better and like they have a choice. I'm going to talk about working in teams and how it can sometimes be demotivating and not a positive thing for some people. Even though working in teams is sometimes seen as a positive thing, there are some situations where it can be frustrating. I'm sure we've all experienced some situations where working in a team has been frustrating. There's sometimes going to be people in the team that don't want to do any work, and then there might be 1 or 2 people that end up having to do most of the work, and everybody else gets credit for it, and that's no fun for the people that are doing all the work, especially if it happens consistently, because people get used to that. Of course, the people that are doing most of the work are going to eventually become unmotivated and a little bit frustrated, and they're going to feel, unappreciated because, they are being appreciated. And, these people that aren't doing anything are slacking, and they're just riding on these other people's backs, and it's just not fair, and it's no fun. So it can make people feel like their effort doesn't matter at the end of the day. And a big issue, I think, is poor communications. Poor communication in teams. Might be a team member who doesn't take criticism well, or likes to argue, doesn't listen. It can create stress and can make people unmotivated for sure. And at the end of the day, there's just some people who prefer to work alone, and that's okay. Being forced to work in teams can make people feel unmotivated. So, yes. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is overtime. Obviously, working overtime can sometimes be beneficial because you're getting better pay, but you have to put limits on everything, too much of anything is bad. It can cause people to become exhausted. You can handle a little bit of it, but too much of it is going to be demotivating, and your stress levels are going to rise, and people are going to become burnt out, tired, irritated, are going to cause poor sleep, could cause health problems, lower job satisfaction. When people are always working, they don't have time to recharge, to rest properly, to eat properly, cook for themselves, and their performance will probably go down. So, overall, flexible work options can be motivating for employees when they're used correctly. Everything should be done in in moderation. I'm sorry, And teamwork can sometimes be helpful, but it can sometimes be harmful, depending on how it's managed and used and over time. It should be limited, because too much of it leads to stress instead of motivation. So thank you for listening, and I can't wait to see what everybody else has to say. Thank you.